Okay folks, this is a video that I've been meaning to do for a little while. It's basically a refurbishment video for a fairly old Roland monophonic analog synthesizer, which is the SH-101. It's a great little synth. They're sort of slowly becoming more desirable, although they're not kind of in the league of the bigger synths that demand the bigger prices. But it's actually quite hard to find one of these in good shape nowadays. A lot of them get quite badly abused, purely because of their size and the fact that they've got associations with a lot of kind of club music and whatnot. But this one's actually technically quite sound. It's all working. There's nothing problematic about it. They tend to suffer a bit from, for instance, the faders go. They tend to go over a period of time. So because of its age, I mean, you'll find that majority of them either have faders that don't work, or sticky faders, or broken faders, just any number of problems with those. You also get broken mod wheel and a pitch bend wheel. You get a funny problem with the power switch, which seems to affect the tuning. That tends to happen on a lot of them as well. But this one's it's great. It's sound, but and it's quite a big but. The story is that a previous owner sprayed a band logo on this section here of the front panel. So it was like some band that they'd obviously decided to tattoo their equipment with. The guy that did that sold it to the guy I bought it from, who tried to remove the band logo with, and I don't think you'll see this, but he's actually used a Dremel tool on the paint, which has kind of taken the paint and the undercoat and the plastic away. So there's some quite big holes in it. It's not the prettiest. So the surface is really badly pitted here. There's obviously still paint on it, and then in a moment of brilliance he has tried to clean the remainder off with nail polish, nail polish remover, which has well, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a huge stain here all the way down the back and right the way across, where he actually spilled the bottle. So the bottle of nail polish remover that he was using on this, he then hit over, and it's taken all the colour out the casing. It's ruined a couple of these as well. But I'd say it's a 9 out of 10 technically, and it's a 4 out of 10 cosmetically. The problem is that these synthesizers are so kind of parts for them now. The actual, things like fader caps, mod wheels, keys, even the cosmetic parts of these now are kind of massively overpriced. So you'll get people will be charging like 10-20 quid for these little things, and keys will sell for a fortune. So the actual casing is, to be honest, the value of the synth, it's really not worth trying to pick one up. Well, I don't think it is. I think that it's so overpriced that you'd end up spending, I don't know, 100 quid, 150 quid on a front panel, and it's just not worth it. So my plan is, I've owned a few of these, and I thought I'd do something a bit different with this one. So the idea is to remove everything, and then what we're going to do is fill all these little holes in and even the surface out. And we're going to sand it all. I'll show you that when I come to it, but we're going to basically smooth the whole surface off. We're going to, a bit like you would do with an old car, where you take the bodywork and get rid of the rust and then fill it in and sand it down. We're going to do all that. I'm going to undercoat it, and then we're going to spray it a colour. And instead of doing an overlay, a lot of people that do these kind of things tend to do like either a vinyl, transparent vinyl overlay, or they do a screen print. I thought I'd do something a bit different. I think I'm going to try and turn it into something a wee bit more interesting. So the first thing to do is to strip it down. Okay, so what we're going to do to do this refurb, it's quite straightforward actually. The best thing to do is just take all these little caps off. So that's the fader caps and the caps and the knobs for like tune, waveform, volume, portamento. We need to take these all off because this is a really straightforward synth to dismantle. It's just purely the bottom panel drops off. So the underneath panel, you take it off, and then the circuit boards are screwed in sort of to the chassis on the top side. So we want to get these all off first, and it's just a case of pulling them out. Some of them are a bit, because of the age of the synth, you probably find a lot of them are quite stiff, but it's a fairly sturdy little bit of kit, so don't be shy about it. It also gives you a good chance, I think, to get in and clean, to really clean the faders and the around the switches and all this kind of muck that gets that sort of accumulates over the years. It gives you a chance to get in and really clean that out. So I've taken all the fader caps off now. Got this big pile of them here. Now I meant to say also that gives you a chance to, you can get in and get the dirt out of here, but you can also give these a good wash, and you'll notice they come up quite well. Okay, so the next thing you have to do, and this kind of involves a little bit of bravery, to be honest, is you need to turn this whole thing over, and you need to unscrew the base plate to get access to it. The only thing I'm going to say is, because you've taken these fader caps off, it's really easy to damage the tops of the faders, and the kind of pitch bend and whatnot. So the best thing to do is to turn this over, but put it on like a towel or just a bit of foam or something to take the kind of the strain of that. So I'm going to do that now. Alright folks, so we've got the towel underneath now to take the strain off the faders. There's a whole bunch of screws here now. Basically the best thing to do is have one of these little multi-kits. So it's a kind of multi-screwdriver type thing. They're pretty cheap. You get it for like 10 quid in your DIY store, and it's got everything you should need. They don't wear very well, but I mean you can afford to sort of pick one up every 6 months if need be. Really good value for money, and stop you having tons of things lying about the table. Okay, so I'm just gonna check the screw size. That's probably about right actually. and that should be us. Okay, so all you need to do is take all these screws out. They're all, I think, pretty much the same size in each section. So you've got your external screws and you've got your internal screws, but keep them in a pile by themselves. So, you know, make sure you don't mix them all up or lose them, which is pretty easy done. Like I say, I mean, there's a kind of big market now for all these little bits and pieces that you get for synthesizers. So fixtures and fittings and even the external bits are surprisingly hard to get now. So be careful when you're taking it to bits. He says as he drops one down there. Okay, so we've got so I'm just doing the last few here. You basically got 4 on the top there, 4 on the bottom, and 4 in the centre section as well. And that's them. Okay, so it just lifts off. It's just it's a big bit of sort of. It's like a baking tray. Again, this is, I don't know if you can see that, but there's, you know, it's covered in dirt and dust that's obviously been picked up over the years, so it's a good chance to clean all that rubbish out as well. So just put that out of the way. Alright, the next thing which you need to deal with is the key bed. So this is you can see the bottom of where the keys lock into the key bed here, and the key bed's a complete sort of section. It's a metal plate with the keys obviously underneath and the contacts. There's these little clips. I don't know if you can pick this up. You've got these clips where the main boards are. Well, you need to take these out. Now they can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but the main thing is just to be gentle. You pull them, and they'll sort of worm their way out. I don't have any nails, so I find it quite difficult. There we go. The keyboard itself. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws holding the keyboard in place, but bear in mind this loom that runs from the main board is also attached there. You can just undo that if you want access to it, or you can cut the clip, but I mean, I think as long as you don't lose the screw you should be alright. Again, put it in a safe place. And here we go. We just take these out one at a time. And put the screws over there. Now, I've just noticed that those screws on the key bed are, you probably want to see this, but they're the little short things, and the one that's holding this loom in is a kind of slightly longer version. So you can see there, the little short one is on the outer edge, and the bigger one is this, kind of holds this loom in place. Okay, so key bed's now detached, and because the synth's upside down, you slide it out backwards like that. There we go. Again, there's some sort of nonsense, muck and dirt and all that going on in there. It gives you a chance to get rid of that as well. So put that to the side. Let's take the motor wheel off first. You can see that little, just need to be careful about things like that. That's like a little wire coming up. It looks like it might be, yeah, you need to just be careful about stuff like that. You don't want to lift it out with the board and separate it. Again, little short screws, keep them safe. Okay, so we've got all the mod section screws out. You can see it just lifts out. You can see actually the missing dust guards that I was talking about there. So need to get some of them. Okay, we just basically need to 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's another one in there somewhere. We need to take these screws out next. So it's the same again. You have to be quite well, be bold but be careful, you know. I mean, you're not going to break it unless you're too heavy-handed. You lean on a circuit board, you know, or you're just a bit careless with the whole procedure. So try to be careful as you go, and you should be fine. So we keep going with that. Just doing it bit by bit. I mean, you don't have to rattle away at it, you know, take your time. Okay, so you get little ones like in here. They're quite hard to spot, some of them. You know, they're sort of right next to these little ribbon cables, so you have to really keep your eyes open. There's one there and there, and there's one there. Got that one out. There's also one, see in here, so right down the far end of the board. Okay, so there's you can see that there's all these little connectors basically holding, it's the mod boards connected to the main board. This is your branch that goes off to the keyboard bed, but there's a really big one there, which holds the socket set at the back. So I'm going to take that off just to simplify things. Just wiggle it out, there you go, and here as well, just wiggle that one out. That allows us to get a bit of access to the board underneath, you see that? Okay, that's like a, that's actually the bottom of the battery guard. What's the battery guard, sorry, that kind of goes in, it's held on like that. one of the screws from the top board goes right through it. So it's a wee bit fiddly to put back together, but you basically place the screw in and catch it and it will go back into place, so keep that safe as well. Now we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to take all these out. Now you can do this with an electric screwdriver, but to be honest, one of the reasons that I tend not to use them is I have seen people use them and you know, the screwdriver head misses the screw and it ends up dragging across the tracks on the circuit board, so you can end up with making a bit of a mess, causing damage, and I don't really think it's worth the risk, to be honest. So I prefer just to use this, although it's a little bit slower. There we go, nearly there. Luckily these boards at the back, they actually just pull out, which is quite handy. Okay, and that's the whole kind of section. Main board, modulation board there, the switchboard, which I think you can just see just there, it's needing a good clean as well. Main board, and the board with the faders, etc. on it. Comes right out. And then these pull quite easy, as I said, you can just lift them out, and you've got that whole section comes off. Now the last bit, which is a little bit kind of fiddly, is the battery terminals here. So you've got these kind of the spring, in fact that's going to come out fine, and try that one. They just pull up like that. It's a bit kind of feels a bit, you know, fiddly, but there we go. Just a little bit of help from the screwdriver. There we go, and that's it. It's the whole interior. Just take that out, and what you're left with is the case. Oh, there's a screw that I've missed. You can see there. So this is the guts of it, and you just need to keep that together and keep it safe, out of the way from moisture, etc. And we can get this all cleaned up and then put it back together once we've got it sprayed. Okay, so the final bit of this video is basically just to say that these are the dust guards here. These go under the feeders. They're made of rubber, and they sort of they're like glued in. You know, it's like a foamy kind of rubbery sheet thing. So it's just glued in place, but they degrade over time. So given I'm going to be spray painting this, I think the best thing to do is just to just remove that all, and you can get replacements online relatively cheap if you hunt around. Same here. Just take these off. And so what we need to do now, basically the last thing to do prior to sanding it down and filling it, etc., is we need to get all this muck, all this kind of it's like grime, you know, from all these years when it's been getting used, get this all washed out. So the easiest way to do it is just to, you don't need fancy products, you don't need you know, chemicals on it. All you need is, you know, some washing up liquid and some warm water. So if you've got a bath, you could do it in the bath. If you've got a big sink, just get it in the sink and you know, get a toothbrush, let it soak, get in all the little places, take that battery compartment off, clean that separately, and just sort of give it a good kind of clean up, you know, because if you get it really nice and dirt free, then the rest of the job, well, the rest of the job for me will be a lot easier. I need to get it clean and then get this whole section really kind of flattened out, leveled out with some filler. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in part 2. But thanks for watching, and sorry for the quality of the video. Hopefully part 2 will be a bit better. Okay, cheers.